What is up, YouTube? It's Jesse here with Jesse's World. Another crappy day. It's actually Monday, February 14th. It's Valentine's Day. And I can't do anything with my wife today because my car is busted. More importantly, or more directly, the starter went out on it last night at like 8:30. I mean, technically it went out yesterday at like 9:30 in the morning, but then it worked and it started the car again a couple different times, and then it went out again. I don't know what his deal is, if it's just intermittent issues or what the problem is, but basically I'm out here working, and it's about, I think, 21 degrees out right now. And this is where I'm at so far. Let me go back. First of all, nobody has any good examples of where the starter is located on my particular engine on YouTube. I looked it up and looked it up and looked it up, and nothing was detailed enough for you to be able to see it. For all of the work that I've done on my car over the last 4 years and like 3 months, I've never seen the starter on this car before. I didn't know where it was at. I changed the timing belt on this car, or not timing belt, I changed the water pump on this car, which included taking the timing belt off and getting into all that stuff, and I never saw the starter. Well, this is where I'm at right now. I got the passenger tire off, I've got the engine cover off, the air box out, I got the driver's side tire off, and I'm about to disconnect the battery. The battery is located underneath this plastic panel, so I gotta take out that plastic plug there, that one right there, these two screws right here, and then there's a plastic plug right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, right there. Gotta take them out. I don't have access to the battery. I can disconnect the positive lead on the battery. As far as where the starter is actually located, alright, so this is where the airbox is at. And again, this is the Chrysler 3.5 liter V6, and it's transversely mounted, so all of the belts and tensioners and all that stuff is on the passenger side of the engine instead of up here in the front. Because in a normal drivetrain engine, the engine with the output shaft and the transmission go toward, like, right down the center of the car to the rear wheels if it's rear wheel drive, or if it's just front wheel drive, then I guess it's probably pretty similar to this. But mine is actually all-wheel drive, so they have the engine put in sideways, and the starter is actually down under here. I don't know if you can even see it or not, but these bolts right here, this bolt right here, this is one, and then I believe this one here, and then this one here are all, no, you can't even see it. This one right here are all 3 starter bolts. So I have to take out all 3 of these to get the starter out. Or actually, you know what? Nope, it's this one, and then this one, and then there's one way down here underneath of this bracket that I have to get out too. So those 3 take it out. Here's the ground wire that runs to the starter to ground out the starter. And then actually, sorry about the noise, I've got my dad's Ready heater out here with me because it's about 20 degrees. Let's get under here, see if I can show you guys where the starter is. Alright, so there is the starter, and it looks pretty bad. Yeah, right there. So that is the starter. The solenoid is over there. There's all the wires and everything connected up to it, and so that's what I'll be taking out. Already got the new starter right here, remanufactured. Got it from AutoZone. It was $144. before the core, and then get back another $40 after I return the core. But yeah, I could not find any detailed videos about where it's at. So I'm gonna get to trying to get the battery disconnected, like I said, and once that's done, I'll bring you back. Actually, I'll probably bring you back once I get the panels off of the battery cover. Right now, my battery is actually bungee corded into the holder because I put a new battery in this car like 2 months ago, because my old battery was just not holding up very good. And in retrospect, maybe the old battery was fine, and it was actually the starter that was causing the issues, because I had some of the very similar issues that I'm having now, where it seemed like the car wouldn't start. And you know, the battery, I don't know, it's probably still, I've still got the battery. I never turned it in for the core return. It's right here in my trunk. Let's see here. The battery has been sitting in my trunk for 2 months, and we'll get it on DC. I got a little cheap multimeter here. So the Napa Legend Gold, or Napa Legend battery. So let's do, I don't know if I can do this or not. Positive lead here, and negative lead there, and okay, like I said, this battery's been sitting in my trunk for 2 months. And it is holding 12.71 volts right now. 12.69, 12.7. So, the battery is holding a charge, at least in my trunk. The charging system was working. It was, you know, using an AWD2 sensor reader. I was able to see that the car's target voltage for charging the battery was 14.7 volts, or 14.67 or 64 or something like that, and it was charging the battery up to like 14.65 or 14.6, and it would fluctuate back and forth because the car was running. But the reason I bought a new one is because after I got to the AutoZone and they tested the battery, and it said it was good at like 81%. But then I had them tested again because it didn't make any sense. The car just didn't start, and it was like 60%. And then I had them tested again like 15 seconds later, and it was like 53% charge capacity. So I was like, I don't care if your thing says that it's good still. I'm getting a new one. So I got a new one. Anyway, I'll bring you back whenever I get done getting this stuff taken off, and show you what it looks like in here. Alright, so I'm back. I got the under mud flap plastic taken off. Okay, so this is what it looks like in here without the plastic flap in here. And there's the battery. Like I said, it's bungee corded in right now because the battery hold down right here, the battery hasn't been out of this car the 4 years that I've had it, and the bolt right here that holds the hold down in place actually snapped off. So there's the bolt is still stuck in there, but the head is gone. So I'm gonna have to drill and tap that out at some point. But for right now, the reason I'm in here, I've actually already loosened this this nut right here. There we go. I already loosened this, so we're gonna disconnect the battery. Alright, so that's out of the way. Make sure it's not going to pop up there and get into anything. And now I can proceed to take the starter out. So I'm not going to video that whole thing. It's probably going to be a major struggle for me to get it in and out. Once I get it out, I'll show you guys. I'll bring you back. But the main point of the video was just, you know, all of the crap that happens at the worst possible times. I mean, it's Valentine's Day. I should be spending time with my wife, or actually technically I'm supposed to be leaving for work here not too long, but I'm called off for the day because I wasn't sure how long this was going to take, and I just didn't think I had time, and it was like 10 degrees last night, and it was going to be dark. I didn't even know where the starter was. I had to find that today. And yeah, so, you know, I just wanted to, first of all, I want to thank my cousin Tasha, because she came and picked me up while she was at her mother's house watching the Super Bowl, and went and took me to buy the starter and drove me by my parents' house. And I want to thank my parents and my brother for always being willing to help me out and loan me tools and stuff. I don't have a garage. I don't have everything that I would need personally to be able to fix this vehicle, but between family helping me with rides and stuff when things go bad, and letting me use their tools and their equipment, like, you know, I'm not freezing my ass off totally. I got this ready heater out here, you know, and my dad's had this thing since, I don't even know how long. It's probably 20 years old at this point, at least. I think he had this back when he was doing drywall finishing. But yeah, just thanks to everybody for helping me out. I'll bring you back once I get the starter out. Okay, so maybe I'm not the first one to ever think of this or do this, but I was having trouble getting the second bolt out of the starter, and all I have is my half inch, 3/4 inch drive ratchet. And by the way, this is stupid, but the top bolt was a 15 millimeter, and the second bolt was a 5/8. So one's metric and one's standard, whatever. But anyway, I couldn't get the second bolt out just pulling on it by hand by myself. And this is what it looks like right now. The ratchet is still on there. As you can see right here, it is now free. And I was like, I need a breaker bar of some kind, but I don't have one. So I was trying to think of a way that I could make a breaker bar, and I did think of one, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this before. Maybe because it could damage other tools, but basically this is what I came up with. I put an 18 millimeter deep well socket on the end of my ratchet. Then I put my two extensions that were in my toolkit on it, and extended it. Was it like a 3-inch extension, and I think that's a 10-inch extension, or 9-inch extension and a 3-inch. So I added 12 inches plus the amount of whatever the socket put on it, which is probably another inch. So I added about 13 inches of length to the ratchet, and the ratchet wasn't short anyway. The ratchet's like a 12-inch ratchet. So that gave me the leverage I needed to break this bolt free, and now I can use this to get it out without injuring myself or, you know, having any other major issues. But like I said, I've never seen anybody do that before. Put a deep well socket on the end of your ratchet. Like, more than likely it's because this could get damaged if you're applying too much force to it. But it did absolutely nothing to it. It's fine. I actually didn't have to pull all that hard. But it was just a really nifty idea that I had, and it worked out. And if anybody else watches this video and sees it, hopefully it helps you out. But yeah, I'll bring you back once the starter's out. So this job sucks. Nobody should have to do this. Engines should be designed in a way where you could actually work on it yourself, but here we are. Old starter out. Looks like a piece of crap. Apparently functions like a piece of crap. New starter is in. Was not an easy job getting it in there. I actually had to remove the heat shields from the front of the car. There is one bolt there, and one over there. And then this one sheared off, but not in a way where I could actually do anything. So I used a screwdriver and a hammer, and I destroyed the heat shield around the bolt. Couldn't get it off. And also that one, that bolt also holds the heat shield on at the top for that heat shield that I had to take off too, because the starter would not fit in between all of this stuff with those heat shields on there, I had to take out, I still have it out actually, the O2 sensor out of the exhaust manifold. Disconnects right there. Let's see, I had to take that out. Got those 3 bolts already put back in. I actually already tested the car and it starts now. I got, I basically just installed all of the starter stuff and I plugged the O2 sensor in here, just let it dangle out here, and started the car and started right up. Tried it again, started right up. Actually, the first time I did it, it didn't start right up because I had forgotten to tighten down the ground wire for the starter all the way. So it wasn't working at all at first. And I was like, oh great, I screwed something up. But then I was like, oh wait, maybe I've just got a bad ground. And I tightened it up and then it fired right up. But yeah, all that stuff is back in. The starter is in. I'm about to put the O2 sensor back in the car. From there, I got to tighten down the battery because right now the battery positive terminal is just kind of loose on the top there. So I got to tighten that down, put the freaking plastic mudguard stuff back on. And then, I guess, I kept all the bolts and stuff separate over here. What is this for here? Oh, that's parts off of, these are parts off the old starter. This one is for this. I took this bolt out here because I could not get the red security tab that holds this piece on here to come free so I could get it out. So I just unscrewed the whole thing and did that with it. And then there's this. That was on there. Yeah, so that's all that crap. So I get $40 back for taking that in, dropping it back off. Yeah, it was a pain in the butt. If you can afford to pay somebody to do it, pay somebody to do it. If you can't afford it, then, be like me and do things all back asswards and sideways and break stuff and, use a hammer as a chisel. A screwdriver as a chisel to tear things apart. And eventually you get to a working result, but it sucks getting there. So I will bring you back once it's all back together and show you that it starts.